This is All Things Caregiving from Breathing Spaces.
Hi, my name is Cindy Mariner. I'm the founder of Breathing Spaces. Welcome today to a new episode of All Things Caregiving. I'm really excited today to have with me my co-host and team member, Cindy Gum.
Thank you. Hi.
And also today we have another team member of Breathing Spaces and a friend, Tanya Kailath. It is an absolute pleasure to have you with us here today. I have known you for years. I know your business expertise, your professional expertise, and this is an absolute thrill. As a nurse practitioner, geriatrics, and palliative care, you bring so much into what Breathing Spaces does, as well as I know in your day-to-day operation as interacting with patients. So welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the generous introduction, and I'm grateful and excited to be here and to have this opportunity to share, my passion and help caregivers just like people watching. So
It's wonderful. And Tanya, we had a conversation a little bit earlier, and it was tremendous about the communication that happens between a caregiver and the one that they're caring for. So please, let's explore that topic again here today.
sure. Yeah, thank you for asking. And when I was thinking about today and preparing for today, I really started to reflect on observations and experiences that I see every single day with caregivers taking care of very vulnerable people and people who need a lot of support and who deserve that care. But often they're also sacrificing their own well-being and their own health. And so, my purpose in exploring this topic was to really help caregivers like yourselves understand what voice is. Because voice is something we use every day, and it is comprised of the sound, the tone, the energy, the pitch. Even as you're listening to me in these 30 seconds, you may hear that I have gone between three different ranges.
Mhm.
And each one, when you take that and apply to the interaction with someone you're loving on and that you're caring for, it translates very differently into how they receive and experience your caregiving. So that's what is voice, right? The sound, the energy, the pitch. Why do we use our voice? To create impact, to give direction, to send messages to the person we're caring about with what we want them to do or how we want them to respond. But most importantly, and what I want to focus on today is the how. Because the how is where a lot of well-intentioned and extremely loving caregivers like yourselves get stuck and then you blame yourself. You take it on as feeling guilty, getting frustrated, getting angry, as though it's your responsibility to fix and control a situation. So, I'm going to provide a specific scenario that you probably have been in sometime in the last week. And it is part of a daily routine of the person you're caring for may need a prompt to get out of bed. And then they may need help or a reminder to take a medication. And then there may be a doctor's appointment. And you start your day feeling pretty relaxed and pretty calm and like you've got this. Today is a new day. And inevitably, within the first few moments of helping your loved one get out of bed to taking their medications, they're not as calm. They are not where you are with, thank you for helping me and let's do this together. Whatever happened with them in them overnight is now no, no, and no.
Mm.
And in that moment, you have a choice, but sometimes it's not a conscious choice. what takes over is that person now reminds you of something where you were defied, you were rejected, you were attacked, and you tend to choose the control. And your voice suddenly goes from, I'm okay, things are gonna be okay, today's a great day, to why can't you just do this? Why can't you just work with me? What is your problem? I don't have time for this. And I'm not exaggerating because I had to literally help someone as I watched my patient who was vulnerable retreat
Mm.
because it created a dual effect.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is then the energy of someone who is afraid. They're losing control of the situation and they feel responsible. You, as the caregiver, feels responsible, but you lose agency over how can I tell myself, all right, I'm going to enter where they are. Maybe I don't need to get them out of bed. They're safe. Let them rest, give them a specific task, walk away, set up the pill box, set up the meds, and then go back. And so, what I want to teach and what is helpful at the time when you're preparing for your day is to choose which energy you want to be in. And some days, some days it's going to be I'm their friend and I'm working with them and we're going to play. And other days, it absolutely is necessary. You are the caregiver. You are directing. You are ensuring their safety and their well-being. And your energy may be more of, I think of superhero characters or warrior characters where everything is absolutely in order all the time. And other days, if you're their spouse, and it's been such a long time since you even remember the feeling of just cuddling, warmth, romantic love. You may choose to say, I want to explore that today. No matter what happens, no matter what upsets, what changes, what obstacles come up, that way you have this larger picture of who you're going to be. So you start at the beginning of your day with identifying that. And anytime you're getting lost in the small details, the frustration, the guilt, the anger, the lack of control, basically your childlike self, you can return in the moment to the energy of who am I? Who am I outside of being this person's caretaker?
Mm.
Who am I out of separate from the fixer or the doer? Because each one of you has gifts and so much that you provide beyond being a caregiver.
Mm.
Tanya, it sounds like you're really, was a caregiver for 15 years, so I so know that position and the frustration. And one of the things I've been writing about is the importance of setting intention and commitment, because without the commitment, it's just an intention.
Right.
And so what you're describing, I think, is very powerful, and it takes a firm commitment to following through in the moment. I know how easy it is to get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you talk a little bit about how to catch ourselves in that moment so we can be mindful of the trigger?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so setting up the day with who you want to be and how you're going to show up, regardless of what you're confronted with, is a significant shift and start to when I notice that this person has now touched upon a part that does not feel sourced, right? I'm not pulling from love. I'm not pulling from empathy. I'm not pulling from compassion. I'm pulling from I'm afraid, I'm feeling endangered, I'm out of control by pausing to say, just because this person is doing X, I can make a note of where I'm feeling that in my body and how does that connect to who do I want to be today? I get to choose. Am I going to bring love? And catching it is tricky. It is an everyday commitment.
Mhm.
But what comes to mind as I'm saying this is then at the end of the day, as you're reflecting on what went well, so that each day you're able to start from a place of this went well yesterday. I can create that again.
Focus on that.
Uh,
Sorry, I didn't mean to, yes,
oh,
I didn't mean to interrupt, but focus on that. And also, I wonder, Tanya, what is coming up for me
no.
is there a word that you could say to yourself? Like blueberry, just to train your mind,
Mhm,
that you feel that emotion coming up and
mhm,
you trigger it with something.
mhm,
I've said to folks before, go to the bathroom, take 5 deep breaths, 5 really long deep breaths, and then go back into the room again. Do
mhm,
something to trigger it. Um,
mhm.
is that a good idea in your thoughts?
I think so. Yes, having a mantra. What we know about how quickly the shift from control to trigger happens in a nanosecond, right?
Mm.
The brain can see a visual representation, and suddenly you lose that balance between this looks familiar, but right now I'm safe. I'm not in my past where that thing was a threat. And I don't need to think about 3 hours from now. If I don't get them up and I don't get them dressed and I don't get them in the car and they don't take their medications, then I'm the one who looks like a fool in the doctor's office, right? Because what happens is it becomes about me, I as the
Mm.
caregiver, and you're losing focus and insight to no one's judging you more than you are judging yourself. And that often comes from people not having more than one source of interaction, right? We've talked about caregiving being isolating,
Mhm.
as well as going back to voice and going back to choosing which part they can focus on, then by focusing on the part that brings love, by focusing on the part that brings security, the part that will bring in safety and warmth, it automatically generates the emotions that will decrease the experience of this is a threat.
Okay. That-
Just because by having maybe the word, as you were saying, the key phrase for you said blueberry, maybe the word is the emotion.
Mm.
Tanya, I was just thinking, I was visualizing just a red heart as you were
Yes.
talking, a
Yeah.
symbol,
Right.
not even a word. Some people
Yeah.
might do better with a symbol.
Right. That's a great idea, Cindy. Actually, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we're gonna to wrap up the voice because going back to communication and voice,
Mhm.
start to when you're not interacting with the person you love and care for, where you have so many ideas about who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, try to use their rest times as your rest times. Not for problem solving, not for researching, not for doing more. And you will notice your balance and your harmony in engaging with them. They will feel your rest. And when you're resting and pausing is the time to run through a scenario that does tend to stress you out and take a note of where you feel that in your body. And I like to write a quick note to that, like, oh, I see you, I feel you, what do you need from me? And it can take a minute, but write it down. Is it your
Mhm.
chest is heavy, your back is hurting? And that way you give the love and attention to yourself that you need, but also the person that's receiving your care benefits from it.
Mhm.
And your mind doesn't focus on, oh, I just did one more thing wrong. How can I be so much
Mhm.
screw up?
Yeah.
Because I tell you from where I sit as a medical professional and nursing provider, that's the farthest thing from my mind when I'm interacting with caregivers, but I hear it so much in their languaging.
Right. Interrupt that language. That's really important, and give that positive impact to yourself. Tanya, you have only touched upon a subject that is so deep. But I do feel like folks are walking away from this episode with something new to think about, a new way of thinking. So I honor you and appreciate you for what you've shared here today so much. And also for our audience to know that you have your own website in addition to working with breathing spaces, and that's enlightenedaging.org. And there, folks can find so much more information. They can work with you directly one-on-one. So, folks, please be sure that you reach out. And it's been an absolute pleasure to see you here today. Thank you for your time, for your energy, certainly for everything that you do in the world, because you're an absolutely magnificent human being. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy, as always, great to have you with me.
Oh God, what a great episode. Thank you, Tanya. So much stuff there to grab a hold of. Thank you. It's really important. Thank you for all the work you're doing.
Yeah. And we look forward to seeing everyone here again in another episode of All Things Caregiving. Thank you.
This has been All Things Caregiving from breathingspaces.com.